And a good Wednesday morning, Quad Cities. It is Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. The time right now is 9 o'clock, and it is time for Ask Andrew Live. This is where I take your weather questions, weather-related only questions, that is, and we'll answer them live. Plus, we're going to do an in-depth dive into the upcoming winter storm system that's going to be making its way across the region. We have a weather impact alert in place for later today. We also have a weather impact alert in place to start the upcoming weekend. So we have lots to talk about. And in just a few moments, weather anchor Peter Warner will be joining me as well to help break down this next incoming storm system. If you're new, welcome to the stream. We are so happy to have you here. It's kind of our little exclusive club, if you will, on the WQ80 A+ streaming app. If you don't have the app yet on your smart TV, Amazon Fire Stick, Roku, the TV stick there, or an Apple TV, any three of those will give you the ability to catch the WQ80 A+ stream. If you're also new here too, you're not sure how this works or how to submit your question, you can text your weather-related questions to this number on your screen. It's 309-304-0888, 309-304-0888. Last time, 309-304-0888. I can always remember the last three. Those are easy numbers, right? Our favorite number here at WQ80 News 8. So lots to cover. We'll start with the local scene first. Then we'll toss it over to Peter Warner, who's in our other studio, to track how the storm system is going to impact the rest of the region. And then we'll bring Peter right back here next to me, and we'll start answering your weather-related questions. We've had some really great questions in the last couple of weeks, so I'm going to throw that challenge out there to you again. Give me some good ones this week to cover. We certainly have a lot to talk about. So let's get started with our look at what's coming in here weather-wise for today. This is kind of a bonus weather chat, if you will, in addition to answering your questions, because we want to do a little deep dive into this storm system that's going to be coming our way for later today. We have this weather impact alert from 5 o'clock this evening until midnight. That's when we're expecting really the steadiest of the freezing rain to move in. This will be a light, icy mix. We're also going to expect a big impact to the evening commute with slick road conditions, and also that opportunity too that we could see an isolated power outage as well. Meteorologist Morgan Strackbine will be in the beast this evening, giving you live look at the road conditions, starting with News 8 at 5. So if you're questioning, what are the roads doing in my neck of the woods, give us a look-see here later this evening. Tuning in live, again, she'll be able to tell you what's going on with those roads. We also have a winter weather advisory in place today, and this begins at 3 o'clock this afternoon and will go until midnight tonight for that same reason. This is that light glaze developing on the roads by the evening commute. The streets, the sidewalks will be slick, and you'll want to use caution. Leave plenty of distance ahead of you and the vehicle in front of you. You're not making any sudden stops, starts, any sudden turns. That will keep your vehicle on the road. So here's the setup that we've got going on with this right now. An area of low pressure in Texas, another little weak disturbance moving through the Dakotas. Both of these will combine to bring that moisture here, currently in downstate Missouri, northward into our region as we head into this afternoon. And that's when we'll expect first a round of freezing drizzle, first starting around 3, 4 o'clock for our southernmost hometowns. And then as we get into this evening, there you see more of the steadier freezing rain working up from the south, just in time for that evening commute. And that's when we're expecting the worst of the impacts would be right after the 5 o'clock hour, lasting until much of the late evening. It appears that this will be stopping completely by the time we hit midnight. That's good news, because at least that will give a several-hour window where road crews overnight can get that pavement cleared off in time for your Thursday morning commute. Here's how much ice we're expecting here locally. A light glaze, I think, at most here in the Quad Cities, but if you head south and east, there's going to be a corridor from Sterling Rock Falls, Geneseo, Kewanee, Galesburg, Princeton, all the way down to just north of Macomb, where we could see some localized higher amounts near 1/10 of an inch. What about the next storm system? Yes, it already has a weather impact alert in place for it, and this is going to be for Saturday. Right now, the timing is a big window because we're so far out into the future here. We're 3 days out. When we get closer, we'll shrink that window down. But right now, it appears it's going to be a morning, afternoon, and early evening event with another light icy mix that we'll have to drive with caution. So let me show you how that storm system is going to track. It's very similar to the one coming through today, where you get this icy mix starting first thing Saturday morning. continuing through the early afternoon, and then the storm system departs by evening. So there's the corridor of ice that's going to be coming through, and you notice it's still over top of the Quad Cities, and even a chance for some heavier ice, maybe near a quarter of an inch as you approach Interstate 39 heading into Chicago. This will be for Saturday morning. So we've got the 2 red boxes on the 8-day. You've got the 1 weather impact alert for this evening. You've got the other weather impact alert for much of the day on Saturday. The good news about tomorrow is, with some sunshine and temperatures above freezing, whatever ice we pick up today is going to quickly melt. However, we are likely going to replenish that ice as we head into Saturday, and that may stick around a little bit longer because you see temperatures are a little bit closer to freezing as we head into much of next week. But this storm system is going to have far-reaching impacts. As you saw earlier, we got winter weather advisory stretching across the entire region, and now we'll send it to weather anchor Peter Warner, who's going to show us how this storm system is going to track and who else will be in its path. Peter?
Hey, Andrew. Yeah, we've got kind of 2 areas of the country right now that we're keeping an eye on for some significant weather. So first, you're going to have your northeast right here, us in the Quad Cities, tracking your way northeast with this ice system. And then the other area we're keeping an eye on is out towards California. There's a strong, big atmospheric river that's bringing some pretty significant rainfall to large portions of California. So it's kind of like I can go with my both hands here and show you 2 different portions of the state. We're going to break down the whole United States here, just a little future cast over, I'd say, the next 48 hours here. You can see there's that wintry precipitation making its way to the northeast portions. And there you can see just a little bit off San Francisco, that atmospheric river bringing more rainfall after an already rainy week out in California. As we get into your Friday, you're going to start to see a little bit more of that impact from that winter system out in the northeast, some snowfall up towards Maine into Massachusetts. Then look at all that rainfall out in California as well as we get towards your Thursday night into Friday. We're going to break down first this freezing rain event that's not only going to impact us here in the Quad Cities, but large portions of the Midwest as well. Look at how this is tracking. It's going to be impacting Indianapolis to Columbus, making its way through Pennsylvania, bringing not only some rainfall, but some ice and some snow into New York. That rain and ice mix will continue into New York up into the northeast as well. And there's going to be some real significant travel delays with this. That's what I'm really keeping an eye on and worrying about is maybe some airports if you're looking to fly anywhere towards the northeast over the next 24 hours. That's something you're going to really have to keep an eye on. Here's just how much ice we're expecting with this system. Here in the Quad Cities, again, we're going to be getting that light glaze, but look how much ice we're going to be seeing throughout a large portion here of not only the Midwest, but Pennsylvania, especially right outside of Pittsburgh, potentially up to half an inch of ice. This is going to be a very significant system out in Pennsylvania when it comes to that ice, all the way down to West Virginia, into Maryland as well, out near DC too. So it's going to be large impacts with this. So flights out there, that's going to be a big impact. Then also there's some snowfall with this system that's going to be tracking to the northeast as well. Not only ice, but snow in Pennsylvania. That's going to make its way to New York, portions of upstate New York as well, out towards Boston. So those are going to be your big impacts on the East Coast. Now we have the West Coast here. Look at this atmospheric river. Just look at how much moisture is in the air there. Here's an area of low pressure making its way towards San Francisco, bringing large portions of rainfall as we get into the day Thursday, into the overnight hours, into your Friday morning. That's going to continue throughout a lot of the day on Friday, also bringing some nice snowfall to the Sierra Nevadas as well. Here's just about how much rainfall we're tracking in California, and let me tell you, they do need it. With all the wildfires that we've been seeing out here, this is a real nice sign to see portions of California up near the Sierras seeing 2 to 3, maybe even 3 to 4 inches of rainfall. Along the coast, plenty of areas seeing about 1 to 1.5 inches as well, even down near Los Angeles as well, maybe about 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. So this is some much needed rainfall that we're seeing out there. So nice little active weather pattern across the United States, Andrew.
Yeah, what a turnaround of events there in California, where we went from those, amazingly incredible wildfires that we saw just weeks ago, and now we're talking about a decent round of rain. So quite a turnaround. It's some good news for California as they can store up some more water for their water reserves. I want to review the question we had this morning, and then we're going to go ahead and jump right into your questions. And there's quite a few of them already coming in the chat. So nice work. You're lining those up. Our question this morning came from Chris in Geneseo, and this was all about kind of the terminology that we use when we put out our forecasts. What is the difference between snow and snow showers? So let's break it down, and I'll show you it right here. When we talk about snow, for example, if I'm calling for snow maybe this upcoming Sunday, saying you can expect snow on Sunday, generally speaking, what we mean is a steady snow lasting hours. and you get constant and consistent accumulation. When we say there are snow showers in the forecast, those are like your scattered showers during the summertime. They move in for maybe 20, 30, 40 minutes, and then they move out and move on their way. You get an occasional burst of snow, but it takes longer for that snow to accumulate, if it accumulates at all. So scattered snow showers, not an all-day snow. It's just an occasional snow throughout the day. When we say snow is expected, you can expect that to be a longer duration event lasting several hours, and you're likely going to have some accumulation with that as well. So great question, Chris. I want to thank you for sending that in to kind of clarify more of that terminology.
Always interesting.
Yeah, and we use a lot of words back here. We try not to make them too big. But
no, it's almost like business jargon in a way.
Yes.
You get kind of caught up in it sometimes.
Exactly, yeah. I had one question I wanted to clarify in the chat. There was a question, is the freezing rain going to be starting at 3, or is it going to be starting at 5? So I want to clarify that really quickly. The 3 o'clock folks, where the freezing rain is going to start there at 3, generally speaking, is going to be way down here. I'm talking south of Burlington, south of Galesburg and Macomb. That's why our weather impact alert, generally speaking, does not start until 5. Because by 5, that's when we expect the radar to look a little bit more like this, where nearly all of us are seeing that pocket of freezing drizzle to the north, while the steady freezing rain is to the south. So we think by 5 o'clock, everyone is going to start to see some impacts, including those slick road conditions. So just wanted to clarify that really quickly.
Yeah, that's a big thing too, is the radar is going to be indicating stuff, but at times it's not going to pick up this freezing drizzle that we can be seeing with this system as well. Yeah. It's not just rain, it's that drizzle that's going to be leading ahead of it.
And one interesting thing to note, I'm checking in with the National Weather Service here in our chat that we have with them. Already in Keokuk, which is south of Burlington, they're reporting mist is currently falling. So that tells me the freezing drizzle has already made it to our southernmost viewing area, which is down here south of Burlington. That's what's going to continue to track to the north as we head throughout the rest of today. So southernmost hometowns will get it first. The rest of us will get it later.
Yeah. It's going to be impactful too.
It will be,
and the big thing with this, the timing, how it's going to impact that evening commute tonight.
Yeah, the timing, you're right. I mean, the fact that we're getting the heaviest freezing drizzle and freezing rain right in the heart of the commute. We had a cold start this morning. Those pavement temperatures, I checked them before we started this, are in the 20s.
Oh boy.
So everything is below freezing. The only positive, as I said on radio this morning, is that as this event unfolds, temperatures are still close to that 30-degree mark.
Stable.
So salt's going to work. It's not going to be too cold for salt.
Yes, and that's hugely important.
Yeah, that should help a little bit if you're looking for a silver lining. I know
there's always a silver lining.
Exactly.
Always a silver lining.
I'm always the half glass full type, so
you do.
I'll try and make it positive whenever I can.
It makes it fun.
Yes.
Makes it fun.
It does.
You ready for some questions?
Yeah, I think we got some good ones so far, too.
Got some good ones. Frank from Rock Island asks, how much more daylight do we gain this month?
Oh, I am so glad you asked.
I know.
I posted this on my social media this morning that we're 32 days away roughly from getting the sunset after 7 o'clock in the evening. Isn't that crazy? Like winter's just come and gone just like that. So yeah, let's talk about that a little bit here. Let's start with the sunset times that we can expect here in the next several weeks. So right now our sunset is before 5:30, but as we go 2 weeks from now, it's later than 5:30, and 6 weeks from now, which puts us roughly in about the second week of March, it's going to be after 7 o'clock. About 7:13, 7:15.
Can we jump to March already?
I know, right? The only bad thing is our sunrise will be much later for a little while. We're not going to see sunrise until about 7:20, 7:30. So the mornings are going to be a little bit darker. I know folks hate that, but again, give it a few weeks. That'll improve too.
It'll catch up.
For us, you know, when you're working the morning shift like Peter and I are, who cares how late the sun rises? We're stuck inside anyway. But we certainly do enjoy those later sunsets.
Oh, yes.
I'll show you another graph here, two more to go with it, how much daylight we gain each month. So last month, we only gained 48 minutes, but this month, along with March and April, are the biggest daylight gains of the year. Combined, you're talking 100-plus minutes worth of daylight. So 74 this month, 86 more minutes of daylight next month, and then still 80-plus into April, and even May has a substantial jump.
It's not too bad. I didn't realize May, honestly.
Yeah, and then we'll, of course, you know, level out in June.
Level out in June, July, and then
exactly
the other way, but we're not worrying about that yet.
No, we don't want to talk about that quite yet. We want to be able to savor the next couple of weeks.
Oh, yes.
So here's a quick visual, too. This was really cool to make. You can see how the amount of daylight really jumps here in the next several weeks. Of course, March, our biggest increase, but then you see it just kind of levels off there in June. We get to the summer solstice, and then we start slowly turning things in the opposite direction. But we don't want to talk about that. No. We want to talk about what's coming up, and that is more daylight.
We got plenty to talk about here.
Yes, that's a great question.
All right, you ready for your next one?
Let's do it.
Ryan from Davenport asks, will the upcoming spring season be a rather active one this year, like the last couple of years?
Yeah, we've had some active severe weather seasons around here.
We have.
For your sake, I think it would be nice if it was active because that's a good way to get you, your roots established for severe weather coverage. So I don't wish it for anybody that, could potentially get damage or destruction from it. But yeah, we can talk a little bit about what we can expect for the spring severe weather season coming up. There's two things we're going to be looking at when it comes to how bad is our severe weather season going to be? Are we still going to be in La Nina? Are we going to be coming out of it? And then we can't forget about the ongoing drought situation. Because drought, of course, hinders moisture, and without moisture,
no storms.
We're not getting storms.
No.
Yeah. So let me start with the La Nina side really quickly, and then I'll see if I can dig up the regional drought graphic so we can take a look and see what's going on with that. So this is historic data showing the influence of both El Nino and La Nina patterns during severe weather season, which is March through May. That's our big primary season, if you will. And you notice they have kind of the same influence here in the Quad Cities, but if you look at the regional view, you see more frequent severe weather when it comes to a La Nina pattern versus an El Nino pattern. El Ninos are usually fairly quiet around here for severe weather. But where you're from, look at that in Arizona. You actually see more.
I know.
In El Nino.
We love El Nino years. It's great.
You guys are a lot more active.
Get rain.
Yeah.
Which we really never get. They went 100, did you know this? Over 100 days without 0.01 inches of rainfall at the
Which is
airport
insane.
There. Insane.
That is such a long stretch of time. But yeah, that's why folks like where Peter is from in Arizona, they love El Nino because they get the moisture that they could use really desperately there. But here, you can see La Nina, the influence is, generally speaking, it's less frequent locally, but in the region, it usually becomes a little bit more frequent. Let me dig for a minute and pull up the regional drought graphic because that's going to be another player. If we have a substantial amount of drought in and around the Quad Cities, that is going to be a problem come severe weather season. So we'll pull this up, we'll zoom it out, or actually let it play for a second and back it up. There we go. So, what we're looking at here, I don't think this is a terrible setup. If this drought were to remain where you've got significant drought, not only in the Quad Cities, but also further out. Let me zoom this out and we can get my arrow up here. So right in here is where the worst of the drought is. It's in the Dakotas and Nebraska. So if this were to continue, this is not going to be a plains severe weather season. No. This does not bode well for chasers that like to chase up in this region. However, this drought down here is not terrible yet. It's only moderate drought.
Yes.
It's not severe, extreme, or exceptional. It's just moderate. This can be erased quite quickly if we can get a decent system to move through in the next several weeks. So, moisture-wise, it's kind of a coin toss right now. La Nina-wise, as you can see there, locally it's quiet, but regionally it's a little more active. So once we get closer, I think, to the end of March, especially in the beginning of April, we're going to be more relying, I think, on this map right here to see, okay, where are those severe storm zones going to be setting up?
And I think also something really important with this is where our systems track from when we see severe weather.
Exactly.
Now, out near Wichita and in that Kansas portion, Oklahoma, Missouri, they're not in too bad of a drought. And that's typically kind of the path we see where those areas of low pressure track their way here towards the Quad Cities, bringing that severe weather.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, I think it could go either way right now. But again, we'll see what happens with the storm track. We'll see what happens with the drought and all those things coming together.
We will.
Speaking of severe weather,
I was going to say,
we have a meeting today right after the 11 o'clock newscast. We're going to be planning that spring severe weather special.
So fun.
Yes.
We got one coming.
There
just
is
like the winter
coming.
weather.
Yep. So if you watch the winter weather special on our 8+ app, we're going to have a spring version coming up, likely going to be sometime in March. So stay tuned. When we get the details hammered out in a date, we'll let you know, but there should be some exciting stuff coming up.
It's going to be fun.
Yes, not going to want to miss it.
Lots of exciting things to talk about. Tornadoes,
derechos, flooding.
Whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah, new technology that's coming our way. Yeah, it's going to be cool.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, we can't wait.
Excited.
Yes.
All right, let's get to our next question here. Christy from Galesburg asks, what is the status of La Nina? Did I just ask you that one?
I don't think you did. No,
We
I
just
don't think we talked about it.
Yeah. So I know we were talking about La Niñas there, so I'm like, wait a second, did I double check that? But what is
Yeah.
the status of La Nina, Andrew? Let's ask
So
you.
last time I looked, which has been a couple of weeks now, because they don't update the National Weather Service and NOAA don't update their what we call their ENSO blog very often. It's maybe once a month. And by ENSO, that's the short-term name for these patterns, La Nina and El Nino.
Yes.
The last update, which was posted in early January, had a very, very weak La Nina. I'm talking about barely meeting the threshold.
Just enough.
Yes. So it's not having an overly strong influence, at least right now. But if you were to look at the weather pattern and why we've seen this lack of snow and why it's been, for the most part, a warmer than normal winter, it would almost seem as if we were in a strong La Nina because the weather patterns have been favoring that track the last several weeks. But what's weird is we're not. No. We're not in that kind of a pattern.
No.
So there's something else that's influencing the weather that's going on here in the last several weeks. And whether that be the surface temperatures of the ocean, whether it be some other things going on, it's not been your typical, weak La Nina winter that we were expecting.
No, we were expecting a lot more snowfall.
Yeah. We were.
Across the board. And it's typically snowier in a weak La Nina.
It is.
We've been dry as a bone, it feels like.
This has been the, exception to the La Nina rule. So nothing's been following anything that we usually study in a long-term pattern. But right now, very weak La Nina, barely registering, and actually we expect La Nina to completely fade by the time we get to the end of the spring.
It's true.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens after that.
We'll see.
Good question.
It's a great question that will maybe answer in that Severe Weather Special.
Yes.
Coming soon.
We're going to talk about that.
We will. Logan was wondering, is snow done or we got more snow coming?
I don't think snow is done. You're gonna see a ton of forecasts on Facebook in the next couple of weeks. In fact, this past week we saw that the Euro model buried us in 20 inches of snow. Yeah. Well, if you look at the Euro model now, there's a donut hole across all of the quad cities. So,
not seen any.
Yeah, it's not in the cards yet, but we cannot rule it out. I've been here long enough to remember when we've had decent snows the first week of April.
Yeah.
They don't last more than a couple of days on the ground because it's so warm, but we've had some decent snows heading into spring.
That's kind of the best, though, because it doesn't last a while. You still get a fun big snow, no school for a day or two, then it melts away right away.
That's why I like snow late March, early April. It's in and out very quickly.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah. But I don't think we're done with snow quite yet. And we're certainly not done with cold quite yet either.
No. Puxatawny might be right this year.
I agree with him.
Might just be right. Yeah. Jack in East Moline is asking, what is going on with the drought? We just talked about the drought. Are we in trouble?
Yeah. Let's go to the local version. I just showed you the regional. I'll zoom into the local version here and actually break down the percentages there too, because it's not terrible.
Not terrible.
And the reason why, you might be thinking, well, why aren't we in severe or extreme? It's been so long since we've had rain or snow. Remember, the ground is frozen right now. Yeah. That ground is not exchanging water with the air. We don't have evaporation this time of year, hardly.
Nope.
Nothing like compared to what comes in here late in the summer. So if we were to have this same situation, say in June or July, we would be in big, big, big trouble.
Big trouble.
We would likely be in extreme, if not an exceptional drought by now. But the fact that this has happened now, while the ground is frozen over, and we caught up on some of the rain before it froze over late last year, we're not in terrible, terrible shape yet. But what this means is, if we don't get that snow before things start warming up in later March into April, we're going to be very reliant on a consistent spring rain pattern.
Yes.
And if we don't get that heading into summer, we're really going to be in trouble. So we're switching from being reliant on snow to now really being reliant on a really active spring pattern. And if we don't get it, farmers are going to be in trouble, and so is everybody else.
Yeah, we need it. We need it really bad.
We do need some moisture, yeah. But right now the ground's frozen. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
No.
Snow. We need a little snow, too. We still need some snow.
We need some big snow for this guy right here who has not yet experienced.
I still haven't had my big snow yet. I still haven't had my big snow yet.
We need a foot of snow, 70-mile-an-hour winds, shut everything down, that kind of thing. But you still need to come to work.
I still got to come to work. Which I don't trust myself driving in that whatsoever.
You'll be just fine.
I'll be fine. Ice jam potential coming up.
Ice jam potential, yes. Kind of looking at the river the last couple of days, not too concerned yet, at least for the Rock River, which is the one we usually have the ice jams on. I'm going to check and see if our cameras came back up this morning. They're doing a little maintenance. Our our friends at Sauk Valley Weather are, because I wanted to see what it looked like in terms of the river conditions out there.
Dixon looks
It doesn't look bad. I
doesn't
mean,
look bad at all.
there's still some ice out there, but nothing's breaking up quite yet. I'm going to see if I can pull that up on my end. If I can't, that's okay. We might have to do a little reconfiguring. But just looking at it on the screen here, yeah, it looks like we still need to relink that connection. So I'll take us away from there and go back to the placeholder here. But yeah, looking at the camera here, this is one of the cameras we use there from Dixon behind Sauk. The ice is still there. It's not cracking. It's not breaking yet.
No.
So
I don't think it'll be too bad.
just got to keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Look for.
And we got that warmth this weekend that really helped.
Yeah, exactly. It actually thinned it a little bit.
Yeah, thinned it off, melted it off a little bit. Because we saw, 4 or 5 days in the 50s in the last week?
We did, a handful at least.
Yeah, so.
I was actually surprised when I was back home in Sterling on Sunday. My mom, Marcus, and I were walking along the Rock River, and there were people out there ice fishing.
On the rock. And those temperatures?
And there was water on top of the ice, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, is that ice thick enough for that? But nobody fell in, so it must have been.
You need about 4 or 5 inches for that.
You do, yeah. So the ice must still be fairly thick, but like you said, we are melting some of that off. We're thinning it out a little bit, so that's some good news there. But we'll keep an eye on that, especially in the next couple of weeks here.
We will. Jessica in Davenport is wondering, is the worst of the cold over for the season?
I still think it is. I don't think, we're talking about daytime highs significantly below zero or anything like that.
No, I think we need a major snow. That's the only thing that could change that.
We need some big time snow on the ground to get that to be sustained. Because I think I talked about this a little bit last time, but that the sun is getting stronger.
Yes.
It's harder and harder to get that kind of cold established. So I think we can breathe a little easier knowing what we had a couple of weeks ago was the worst of it.
That'd be nice.
And I don't think we're going to see anything that too bad.
Yeah, I don't think that anyone would be too mad about that.
No, I know I wouldn't be.
Austin Riley is wondering, what time in Galesburg will they be seeing this freezing drizzle, the freezing rain?
Sure. So, yeah, like we just said, we got a report from Keokuk, which is south of Burlington, that the mist has already started. Whether it's freezing or not, we're going to have to wait and see. We're going to keep a close eye on the road conditions map here as we go through GMQC at 11, see if that starts turning any different color. But as I take you through Future Track here, the freezing drizzle will likely be in that region early this afternoon, as early as 2, 3 o'clock. And then you get to the evening, and that's when you're going to see the steadier rain, the steadier freezing rain move up from the south. So really the worst of the impacts, we generally speaking do not expect to get here till 5. That's why we put the weather impact alert for 5, because by 5 o'clock, no matter where you live, whether it's south or whether it's right here in the metro or whether it's north up to Dubuque and Galena, that's when we expect our road conditions map to have a whole bunch of blue and a whole bunch of pink on it, indicating that we're starting to see some slick road conditions.
Yes. That's something we'll keep an eye on too.
Yeah.
James will be tracking that all night.
Oh, yeah.
And James is going to be live too at 2:30 and 8 o'clock, I believe, on the 8 Plus app.
Yeah. So you get 2 updates.
2 James.
And there's another advantage to having the 8 Plus app is we get more time to spend on weather. With the television, the channel, just tuning in on bunny ears and things like that, we're kind of limited. You have programming going on, you've got commercials going on. People don't want their soap operas interrupted, things like that. But this platform here on the 8 Plus app, we have unlimited time.
We can do what we want.
In fact, if we didn't have a meeting in 2 minutes, we could take Ask Andrew for a whole hour. But
we could talk here for probably 4 hours.
Oh, we could.
I have no problem with it at all.
We could have like a telethon going on.
Oh, yeah.
And all we're doing is talking about weather. So yeah, you think you said that was 2:30 this afternoon?
Yes.
Okay, so Chief Meteorologist James Zahara back at 2:30 on this app to talk about this. We also have Morgan going out in the Beast this evening.
In the Beast.
So you're going to be able to see the road conditions live for the evening commute, and then James will have another update at 8.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock this evening too, right here on the app. So
all on that News 8 Plus.
Look at all that.
I know.
We love some bonus James time.
Who doesn't? You can't
I
get
never
enough.
get enough.
You can't get enough. You cannot get enough of it.
We love this man.
Yes, we do. One quick question before we go. Tyler is wondering when we'll see it in Davenport, see it end in Davenport.
When we will see it end in Davenport. Okay, this has been very consistent for the end of this. We believe the end is going to be just before midnight. This is 10 o'clock, and you see most of that's out of here. There's going to be one more little area of some drizzle behind the main energy that's coming in, but by midnight, all of this will be done. And that, I think, gives you about, what, a 5-6 hour window for crews to get roads done for the morning commute tomorrow. So if you're out still at midnight, be careful. There will still be some slick spots, but by the time we get to that 6-7 o'clock hour tomorrow morning, we should be in good shape.
You'll be just fine.
Yeah, we'll get you through it. Well, right, look at that, 9:30 right on the dot.
Wow.
It's like we do this.
This guy's a pro.
This
guy's a pro.
When you do it for so long, the timing is just right in your head, I guess. Well, Peter, my good friend, thank you, sir.
Thank you guys for watching.
Joining. Yeah, we thank you for being here, and we're going to be right back here next week, same time, 9 o'clock on the WQ80 A+ app. Don't forget, James will be back here on this app at 2:30 and 8 o'clock this evening for more updates on this icy mess. And don't forget to watch News 8 at 5, 6, The Current as well at 4 o'clock with Shelby for live conditions with The Beast with Morgan Strackbine. Have a great day and stay safe.
Continue with us and watch free now on the 8+ app everywhere you stream.